Tech Talk Tuesday. Tech Talk Tuesday. Tech Talk Tuesday. You mean Thursday.
Want to see how many times I can mispronounce the same word? I'm leaving the mistakes in this week, so let's have some fun. Hello, and welcome to another 10-minute Tech Talk Thursday with me, Michael Weir, your Fortinet NSE 7 Certified Technical Account Manager for Fortinet at Ingram Micro. Today, I think we're going to have a very fun topic. We're going to talk about hiding in plain sight. It's actually got a fancy name too, but I wanted to start us off with a nice title here. So here's a question for you. How harmful can a single picture be? So this is based on something that happened back in 2000, from 2005 to 2010. Hacker teams managed to slip information by sensors by concealing it in Facebook profile pictures. As always, the legal disclaimer, my bulletproof vest. Everything I talk about is best practice advice, but do what your company says. If you follow my advice and something bad happens, not my problem. So, the problem we're going to talk about today is that data can leak through the cracks in crazy ways, like what I talk about, pictures on social media. And the solution to that is be prepared, be aware, be visible, and be diligent. Now, at this point, you might be saying, well, how is data going to be in a picture? Well, it's going to be this fancy word called steganography. Now, steganography has nothing to do with the stegosaurus. Steganography also has nothing to do with being a stenographer. So how are they doing things? This is what oh man, I can't say that word. Steganography.
Steganography?
Yeah,
That's horrible.
it is bad. Steganography is the practice of concealing a file, message, image, or video within another file, message, image, or video. And this is, of course, the current day's digital definition thereof. It is really security through obscurity. Now, the reason I say this is today's current definition is because the practice of steganography has been around since the 5th century BC. Side note, you're going to hear me stumble on that word a lot of times in this presentation. How it happened is someone needed to send a messenger to another city with a message, and he didn't want the message being stolen if the messenger was caught. So what he did is he shaved the messenger's head, tattooed the message on the guy's scalp, let his hair grow back, and then sent him over to the next village where the person receiving the messenger then shaved his head and got the message. Now that message might be a little permanent for most people's taste, but that is our first recorded use of steganography. Another use for it is that back in the World War II era, they used paper stenography. Back in World War II, they used paper steganography. I can't say it.
You just have to sit here and go steganography over and over again.
Another example is in World War II, they used paper
You can't do it.
Back in World War II, they did steganography via paper. They would do it on postcards to communicate secrets. What they would do is they would take and they would cut the edge of the postcard almost imperceptibly in a certain pattern, and the people would see that pattern and be able to put together what it is the message was. And then another use for it was back in 2005 to 2010. Like I mentioned, the Russian spies used it to digitally communicate with their U.S. spy counterparts. Now, here's the thing about steganography. Here's the thing about steganography. Now, you probably use it every day without knowing. How do you use it? Well, if you've got a Canon, HP, or Xerox laser printer, when those printers print, they put the serial number, some device data, and timestamps in microscopic dots on every job. So if you take a look at one of these under a microscope, you'll see sub 0.1 millimeter yellow dots distributed in random places on the page that leave this information in. Sort of like the exfil data on a photograph or something like that. So it does have some upsides and some downsides. The upsides, if you're the one using it, is that it's quick and easy once you know how to do it. It's relatively foolproof and it can be done in plain sight. The downside, and this is if you're the person that it's being used on, so to speak, is it's very hard to detect without specialized software. There's programs that do steganography, and there is programs that decode the steganography. And without those certain programs matching, there's no real way you're going to be able to get the data out. It's also a single point of failure if someone forgets how to open it. If they don't have the program, they forget the password, something along those lines, then that's how then that's a single point of failure. They won't be able to use it anymore. And then the big downside, though, is that it's only widely deployable way to stop steganography is to watch for its symptoms. So what are the symptoms? This is in a corporate setting now. Steganographic software is installed on a device. That's the most obvious symptom right there. They're using the software. I'd find it with a software inventory. Unusual file access patterns. Suddenly someone is going into and out of HR files more frequently than they should be. If they have unusually large files, certain kinds of steganography can increase file size. Good ones don't, but some do. If there's repetitious use of a particular image or medium between a few people, so images that have large swaths being virtually the same color are very easy to use, and then ones that look like totally randomized colors are very easy to use. So if you have somebody sending these blocks of randomized colors and you know they're not into abstract art, it could be a sign. And then if they have folders containing pictures, audio files, or documents which seem pointless or arbitrary in any way, because as you're going to see in my example, I use a picture of little Johnny the football player. And if I had a folder full of little Johnny the football player pictures with slightly different names and my employer were to see it, they'd probably say, wait, something bad is going on here. So let's see it in action. I'm going to do just a steganography example for here. Steganography, man, I've been saying that wrong this whole time, haven't I? Steganography example for you, real time. So here you see the most simple basic DOS file one could possibly make. I've made it into a batch file and left it on my desktop. And that is what we're going to encode into a picture. The picture we're going to use is Johnny football player here, a nice little portrait I took of him when he was getting off the field after the big game. Advantageous because it has lots of big blotches of the same color. And I'm using a program called OpenPuff for my steganography, which means that's the program I'll have to use when I open the thing too, after I hide the data. Now, you should always use as many passwords as possible if you're one of those people that wants to be stupidly secure. However, I will not remember more than one password, which will lock me out, so I am going to use just one. After that, I'm going to add my carrier image, which is Mr. Johnny Football. Close him out, and now I'm going to put on my payload, which in this case is going to be the batch file, the bone simple DOS file there. Put on my payload, make sure we've got everything set up correctly, and say hide data. This is why I said it's incredibly simple to do. So we hide the data. We decide where we're going to put the file with the data hidden in it. I'm going to put it into my documents since the original is on my desktop. Got my carrier processed, my details that it is done. Now we're going to go unhide it. So remember I said you always have to use the same program, so we're going to put in the password that I put in the first time. I'll give you a hint, it's steganography. Take out our B and C passwords because we only used one. We're going to add as a carrier now the one that I put in my documents file, which has the file put into it. Open it up and unhide. Now it doesn't know where to put the unhidden file. We'll also put it in documents because once again the original's on my desktop already. Carrier is processed. There's the details. And now if we go to my documents folder, we will see that it appears there. Top thing is the DOS batch file. Very simple, and of course you can see how this could be sent out to damage somebody's organization. If I have a piece of malware or something I want to send, I can embed it in a picture of Mr. Johnny Football there. I can send it to you, my cohort who is inside the organization instead of outside. You can apply it to the PCs and nobody's the wiser that it came in or out. All right, and here is your call to action. If you're an administrator, you need to watch your network and your users for signs of illicit actions like steganography. So first, you have to be aware. Second, you have to track file usage. Third, I would do frequent software inventories. 4, I would do some email message auditing. And then 5, if you have the means to do so, you have some employee monitoring software like key logging or recording or something else along those lines, because that's really the only way you're going to detect it. So thank you for watching. Do you have any... Man, how come I can't even talk about this now? Do you have any questions? There is my email. There is my work phone. I am going to go do some kind of like singer's mouth exercises to recover from this. And other than that, you guys have yourselves a great day.